Well, Tech here. We're going to talk about Boolean expressions today and go into if-then statements for your Arduino. So as far as your parts list, if you want to follow along completely, you will need a couple push buttons, a couple jumper wires, some LEDs, and some resistors, and of course, your Arduino with some wires. Okay, for Boolean expressions, if you don't understand what these are, I have a video set up just for you. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that you already know kind of what we're talking about here. So an AND operator, you can express that in code as an AND. You can have the OR operator that can be expressed as a line going up and down. And then you also have the NOT operator, and that can be expressed as an exclamation point. All right, so we're going to go into what is known as an else if statement. So the format of this code is pretty simple. So if you have an expression and that expression rings true, you're going to do a thing. Else, if you have another expression, you're going to do a thing. Or you can finish it off and close everything out with an else. Now, if we can think of this, we can take this as follows. So if you have a weather that is snowy, you're going to want to wear your jacket and your gloves. So we're going to set those values to true. Now, if you have rainy weather, you're going to want to wear your jacket, but your gloves aren't necessary. But if either one of those conditions aren't met, they're like, I don't need my jacket anymore. So that's what we're talking about when we're saying else if statement. Now I'm going to set all this up real quick. And so what this is going to have, you're going to have 3 push buttons. That's going to go into 2, 3, and 4. I label them red, yellow, and blue, just like we see on the screen. You're going to have 3 LEDs, and you're going to have 3 resistors, and we're going to want to connect those to 10, 11, and 12. All right, we're going to do a lot of setup here. It's going to make everything easier down the road. All right, we're going to use a constant integer. That means it doesn't change. We're going to go ahead and define this as a red button. We're going to set that to 2. So this is the pinout. We're going to duplicate this 3 times. Or excuse me, 2 more times. And then we're going to call the second one, let's see, yellow button. Set that to 3. And then we're going to have blue button. We're going to set that to floor. All right. We're going to do the same thing again. This time, we're going to set these for the output. So let's see what I call them. So I have a red, a blue, and a yellow LED. Let's go ahead and call this red LED, blue LED, and then, or yellow LED, excuse me, and then finally blue LED. And we're going to set these to pins 10, 11, and 12. Now, finally, we're going to have the state of each button that we want to call out here. So this will be just a regular integer, and then red state. We'll set this to false. And then we'll repeat that 2 more times. So we're going to have a yellow state and a blue state. Now we're going to go through our void setup. This is where we got to set up our pins on our pin mode. So we're going to have pin mode. And then we're going to have red button. We're going to have that assigned as a input pull-up. Let's do that 2 more times. And we're going to say yellow button and blue button. Now we're going to repeat this again. And now we're going to have pin mode as an output for the red LED. Your yellow LED. And your blue LED. And we're going to set these as outputs. This is where we're going to go into the void loop state. All right, we're going to have to assign the red state based upon the input of our red button. We're going to duplicate this 2 more times, one for yellow, and then the other is for blue. So red state is equal to digital read, and this will be digital read on the red LED. We're going to do this 2 more times. All right, so we're setting our red state is equal to the digital read on the red button. This is button, not LED. Now we're going to do a digital write. And now we're going to do this digital write to the red LED. And then we're going to reference this red state. All right, we just put in a lot of code. Now let's hopefully there's not going to be an error. Knowing me, there probably is. All right. Okay. Got to make sure my variables match. All right, let's see what it says. All right. Now let's go ahead and set our correct COM port and our correct Arduino board. So I'm just using the Arduino Uno today. All right, let's upload this onto our Arduino and see what happens. All right. We have 3 lights on. And when we push the red button, the red one goes off. When we push the yellow button, the yellow one goes off. And when we go to blue, the blue one goes off. Now this is because we assigned it as a digital, actually, excuse me, as an input pull up. So we're going to flop this. And we're going to take this statement of red state is equal to digital read the red button, and we're going to invert it. So we're going to not it. So on these, to do that, all you have to do is put this exclamation point. So this will set the red state to the inverse of what the digital read button on is on the red button. So let's compile this. Let's load it up. Now you can see LEDs went off. So when I hit the red button, it goes on, yellow goes on, and then finally blue. So that's exactly what we're thinking we needed to happen. Now we're going to do what is called an AND statement. So you're going to say, if this and this is true, then it's going to turn on the button or the LED. So we will go ahead and digital read this yellow button. We're going to take the not of it, just to be consistent, and we're going to put this and sign in front of it. So I hit upload, and then I'm going to upload this on here. So it's done compiling. So since I took out the other digital reads, it's not going to do anything if I push these other two buttons. So if I push the red button, nothing should happen. If I push the yellow button, nothing should happen. But if I push both of them, we got a red light on. So that is the AND. All right, now we're going to change this to an OR operator. This is an easy one right here. So we just swap it to there. We go ahead and upload. So when we push either the red button or the yellow button, the red state or the red LED should come on. So one or the other, or you can do both. That's what we expected. Or you can do an XOR. Let's go ahead and compile that. So if red button is on or the yellow button is on, but they match, or it's on, if they match, it's off. It's red. If they match, it turns off. Yellow, there you go. Now we're going to get into an if-then statement. And so this provides conditional statements for you to actually program stuff. So we're going to turn off your digital, right? We're going to say if red state is equal to true. And then we're going to do something with that. So if this red condition is true, we're going to do something. I'm going to purposely screw up the program here because it's going to do an action that I do not want it to do. So here, let's get rid of that. So we're going to look at this red state. If it's true, we want it to do something. I'm going to take these, pop it in. I'm going to set this instead of the red state. I'm going to set this to the state that I want it to be at. So I don't want the yellow or the blue to be on. So I'm going to set these to false. Compile it. I don't know why I always capitalize those. Well, let's see. What does it not like? What am I missing? Oh, okay. All right. So if I set the red state to true, the red LED needs to turn on. Now it turns on. Now it doesn't do anything else because there's no other conditional statement in here that turns it off or does anything else. So I'm going to add an else statement. So this is a catch-all terms. So if you're inside of the if statement and you call an else, that's any other condition that's not previously called. All right. So you put in else. And then we're going to tell it what to do. Going to set this to false. So what we're saying here is if the red button is true, we want to go ahead and set the red LED to on. Now, if it's not pressed, we want it off. Let's go ahead and compile it. Now, let's see if it does what we want it to do. Yep, there you go. Now you can continue to do additional steps if you put in an if else if statement. Now this else if statement is going to look for a specific condition. Now I'm going to tie multiple conditions together here. So I'm going to use the double and sign. If you're there in the brackets, use double and I'm going to tie this to another condition. So here I'm going to say if red state is true and yellow state is equal to false and blue state so I'm putting in every single condition in here because I'm going to build off of this LED that I have. If I don't put them in there, whenever I push the red button, it's going to take priority, but that's not what I want here. Let's go ahead and compile the code and make sure that it works accordingly. The red button, nothing else does anything. That's what we want. Now let's go ahead and put this else if statement in here. All right, so here we have this else if. We want to go ahead and copy all this because I'm going to borrow it. No sense in typing everything out more than once. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's say if they're all true. And then blue state is true. Let's go ahead and just set them all true. If they're all true, we're going to do something. Put a little curly brackets here. I don't know why you're not working. Wrong button. It's late. We're going to go ahead and take all these digital rights and let's go ahead and set the LED to true. So what we're saying here is if the red is true and all the other buttons are false, it's going to be red LEDs on. If all the states are set to true, so all the buttons are pressed, we're going to turn on the blue. We're going to compile this and let's go ahead and see if it does what we're expecting it to do. So we press the red button, it turns on. So if we press any of the other buttons, it turns off. That's what we're expecting. Now I can press all these other ones as much as we want. Now if I press all three of them, we got our red LED. That's what we want. I mean, blue LED. All right. So yeah, thank you for joining. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, go to my Twitter. You can follow me at Brunky Tech on Twitter. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And share the video. Somebody wants to learn. I got them.